WWE has gone through a massive shift this year, and it feels like everything fans knew has changed. Not only have there been releases among wrestlers, but the internal structure of WWE seems to have altered. Whereas before WWE tried to establish stars and failed hilariously, this year WWE appears to have been more intent on making changes. For many critics, the changes internally seem to point towards one thing: WWE being sold. This is Wrestling and here are reasons why WWE might get sold, as well as those who could potentially buy the company. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. WWE is the biggest professional wrestling promotion, but that no longer means as much. They were drawing millions of viewers on a weekly basis, and that led to them becoming industry leaders. However, with the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras behind them, they no longer have that market presence. Despite AEW establishing a foothold, the number of people watching wrestling is the lowest it has been in a long time. WWE struggles to stay at 1.5 million viewers for Raw, and they bring in 2 million for SmackDown. Compared to 10 years ago when these numbers were double the current figures, it says a lot about the current market condition. For the last 4 decades, since Vince McMahon took over WWE from his father, he has brought the company to great heights and taken it to the lowest lows. There comes a time in every person's life where they feel they have done as much as they can. In Vince McMahon's life, that time might have arrived. Wrestling is cyclical, and currently it's going through a major low, and honestly, at 76 years of age, Vince probably no longer has the energy he once did. While others in his position might step down and hand over the reins to his other family members, Vince does not believe in Triple H's vision, and has made clear in how he is treated NXT. Thus, instead of leaving WWE to Triple H and Stephanie, or even his son Shane, Vince might decide to sell. Anyone who has seen McMahon's booking in WWE would be aware of his love for drama. This is the man who pretended to cheat on his catatonic wife on live television, the same man who thought the Katie Vick angle where Triple H pretended to be Kane and simulated sex with a mannequin inside a coffin was hilarious, and the same man who proposed that when Stephanie McMahon was pregnant, they turned it into a storyline where Vince was the father. This man loves drama and how it affects those around him, so this would be the perfect opportunity for him to be in a position of power. He probably has not let his children or Triple H in on plans he has for the future. Meanwhile, like every murder mystery, he has very different plans and wants to sell. In fact, Vince, if he saw Knives Out, would think that was the perfect way to treat his inheritance, and manage it in a way that the least likely person was the one to get it. What would that mean for the company? Vince probably thinks he has built WWE to such a level that it will always survive, though that might be a mistake. As mentioned, like every industry, wrestling is cyclical and goes through upward phases as well as downward trends. For the last decade, it's been going down. The few times WWE has managed to do something exciting, they either killed it or overdid it. Such was the case when Goldberg came and defeated Lesnar in seconds. That day in itself was amazing, but they kept bringing back Goldberg and squashing current stars. They wasted CM Punk and Daniel Bryan when they were at their most popular, and ignored Rusev as well. Thanks to many cases, fans no longer invest in wrestling because they know there won't be a payoff, as ticket sales seem to reflect this trend. This could be a reason McMahon might decide to cash out when WWE's value is at an all-time high. The fact that McMahon could sell WWE was something most never believed. The massive restructuring inside the company with mass releases has indicated a potential sale. Nick Khan, WWE President and Chief Revenue Officer, was blamed for changes the company was going through and appeared on a podcast to clear his name. He then went on to answer the question that everyone had been wondering, whether the company was preparing itself for a major sale. He answered ambiguously, but the message was clear. If the right offer came, WWE was open for business. Well, look, we're open for business on anything and everything, and even some of the business plans that we've announced recently are different or unique to what the company has traditionally done, so we're open for business. If somebody calls, we'll listen, but we're not active. We're not out in the marketplace trying to change that structure. But who can buy WWE, and what is it worth? In 2020, the net worth of WWE was listed as $5.71 billion. The revenue every quarter has been at record levels, as WWE's deals with Fox and USA have helped. Vince McMahon owns majority of shares with a net worth of $3.2 billion. Shane and Stephanie have shares worth $35 million and $45 million respectively. Meanwhile, Linda McMahon holds shares worth $3.2 billion. Comparatively, Triple H does not hold as many shares, and his shares have lower voting power, but his overall net worth is $150 million. It should be noted Vince has sold a lot of his shares. To buy WWE, someone would have to purchase a controlling interest of shares. Given the net worth of the company, the person taking over would likely have to buy out all of McMahon's stock and would need a minimum of $5 billion to control the company. Since Vince McMahon would likely not want to let WWE go for a low price, the purchase price might go as high as $6 or $7 billion. However, there are still a few companies who can buy WWE. The following are some who might try to purchase it. Amazon is competing aggressively in the OTT market. They're doing a really good job at this, as they are bringing forward more and more shows which are competitive with HBO, Netflix, and Hulu, though having something like WWE on their roster would be immense. Needham analyst Laura Martin has said that Amazon would be one of the companies that might look for streaming rights for WWE in the future, something that Peacock holds now. We believe that such a licensing deal would put Amazon in the best spot to purchase all of WWE whenever the family is ready to exit. Though Amazon, with their huge net worth, could easily be one of the companies that decides to purchase WWE altogether, Amazon could throw its hat in the ring, and they had practiced streaming Thursday night NFL games as well previously. Amazon is one of the companies that is not only capable of doing this, but would actually benefit from owning WWE, as they could even take the company to new heights. With the right investment, this might even be the best possible option for WWE's future. WWE is adding a long relationship with NBC Universal. The company announced they had struck a deal to stream on Peacock in the United States. The deal was worth $1 billion, and approved NBC was ready to invest in WWE. The deal is for the next 5 years, but it could be the first of a long-term move the company has to buy WWE. Raw and NXT stream on the USA Network, and NBCU is definitely familiar with the WWE product thanks to years of working with the company. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter stated, "For all the money that they're paying, NBCU really should have bought the company, and maybe they will. The hard part about buying the company is that deal with Fox. You're going to own a company, and one of your key components is going to be on a rival network. That's a really weird mix. But when WWE's deal with Fox expires, I would think NBC would go hard after SmackDown. Now, with WWE firmly entrenched with NBCU, they could sell to them after Fox's time with the company is up instead of renewing the contract." WWE once played a crazy segment where Donald Trump bought the company from Vince McMahon. This was long before Trump's political career, and the entire thing was hilarious, which led to McMahon and Trump choosing wrestlers to represent them in the Battle of the Billionaires. That was just a story, but it does not have to be. If anyone looks at the most valuable sports franchises, a large number are owned by people and their families, with only a few being owned by institutions. There are a lot of crazy billionaires, including Mark Cuban, who already own a sports franchise, who would fancy themselves sitting in place of Vince. There are also people who own casinos, and looking back at the past when the Fertitta brothers acquired UFC, it's possible that similar individuals would do the same for WWE. If this happened, this would change the face of wrestling and would allow for innovation. Fans would have to be ready for shenanigans, as whenever filthy rich individuals are involved, there's always the chance they will be involved at a micro level, which is not always conducive to a functioning company. While the McMahons have been around the wrestling industry, there's a new billionaire family in the market. Tony Khan and his father have invested in AEW and made it a considerable force, though that does not mean their intentions stop there. Tony Khan is ambitious and loves wrestling. They are also richer than the McMahons. Khan can afford to buy WWE with his father's cooperation. The only issue would be getting the McMahons to sell. Vince would never sell to competition. The same can be said about Stephanie, and there are possibly hard feelings between the McMahons and AEW. However, if there's one family that will be hovering over WWE as a looming threat in the coming years, it will be the Khans. This is very improbable, but there's always a chance. Disney is the monolithic giant coming for every bit of entertainment. Already they have Disney Plus to stream, and WWE would be a great addition. There have been rumors about WWE being bought by Disney, and this could conceivably be the most likely buyer. Dave Meltzer revealed there was interest within Disney to buy WWE as well. Thus there could very well be something like that on the horizon. Anything the mouse wants, the mouse gets. Now, will the mouse be able to convince Vince McMahon? And these were reasons WWE might get sold. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.